party. March on the color.
The Boys' Brigade was founded in Glasgow by William Alexander Smith on Thursday, October 4, 1883. It was the first of all the uniformed organizations for boys, which have since spread all over the world. The object was also clear from the beginning: the advancement of Christ's kingdom among boys and the promotion of habits of reverence, discipline, self-respect, and all that tends towards a true Christian manliness.
Our main focus is to train the character of young person to be a good citizen, and that is how we can introduce that. It's a balanced training program. From the age of 7, we pick them up. We release them to the society in the age of 21. If you care to continue as an officer, we commission you an officer.
We live within the object of the Boys' Brigade, which is the advancement of Christ's kingdom among boys. You see, with that, we are able to propel the job, and that helped us to bring all these young ones into the Boys' Brigade, because we want to bring all the young ones to Christ.
The Boys' Brigade is a Christian organization set up to mold the children to be obedient to the rules and tendencies of the church.
The idea of the Boys' Brigade movement started in Lagos as far back as 1906 by a Briton, Mr. A.W. Wakeman of the CMS bookshop in Lagos. But it was in 1908 that Reverend T.A.J. Ogumbi started the Boys' Brigade movement in his Holy Trinity African Church, Ebutero in Lagos. The first 13 companies in Lagos were registered in London. However, there were many other companies around Lagos. First Badagry Company of Freeman Methodist Church, Badagry, which was established by Reverend W.F. Mello in 1948. St. Michael's Anglican Church, Popoba Ekpe, which was registered in 1956 as First Ekpe Company, and a host of others. Many more companies were registered, but there was no supervisory authority at the center. In 1947, the Boys' Brigade officers in Lagos companies decided to constitute Lagos Officers' Council. The council became the administrative authority of all BB companies. Bishop L.G. Vining became the chairman, and Venerable S.C. Phillips was made the council chaplain. The name was changed to Lagos Officers Group Council in 1962, and Mr. S.H.O. Alder of the then 9th Lagos Company was elected the chairman.
When I joined the Boys' Brigade then, in fact, it was one of our reverends, now dead, Reverend Fode, who asked me to go into the Boys' Brigade because I was the youth secretary of the church.
The Boys' Brigade is a youth organization that has attracted young boys in schools and the general public all over the country. The church breeds youths for the Boys' Brigade. Almost all the churches have units of the Boys' Brigade who are mostly from the Sunday school section of the church. The boys go through compulsory training to instill discipline and good morals as they grow up.
First, it's by your personal example. Your desire to work with young children, you must have passion for them. no child wants to listen to you if you don't want to draw him nearer. And before then, I told you I had served in the Red Cross and in the Boy Scout, and it made them to be attractive to me. Each time I run a program, even where the program has a lot of hiccups, they were able to understand that it's not usual. And so I had a large following.
I love youth work. So I started going to that school to enlist boys who wanted to be in the brigade. And with the way I was doing it, they all rushed to join me.
The Boys Brigade pioneered all other youth organizations in Nigeria, and it grew and expanded very fast, covering areas far and wide. The developments were in 3 different fronts, simultaneously covering western, northern, and eastern regions. The Boys Brigade Band plays a very prominent part in the activities of the brigade.
The band in Boys Brigade is a very important unit. You recall that Psalm in the Bible is a song by David. So band melody is very important in the church. Maybe this is an opportunity to disabuse the minds of people outside. Most of those who follows corps with the band and all this and that are not brigade boys. But of course, you know, anybody can pirate a tune. The work we're doing are boys that are looking for what to eat. Brigade spend a lot of money in training the band, both band leaders and all the band boys. We have a seminar for them. We have competition for them in a very decent form and in a God-fearing way.
I started redesigning the Boys Brigade Band. It used to be a Beagle band, which has only military impact and is not carrying any message to those admirers. Our uniform was a point of attraction to young and old, and our discipline in keeping ourselves in esprit de corps was established. So I decided to introduce Beagle band music into trumpet, which we can play common tunes, and to the admiration of every citizenry. And we got very good response from the public.
In 1961, the Boys Brigade in Nigeria became administratively independent, with Lagos, the capital city then, being the national headquarters. The Reverend Duncan Ulukokun, a Methodist priest, leased one of his buildings, a one-story, for use as national secretariat, with the office on the ground floor and the residence of the national secretary on the first floor. However, in 1967, after the creation of Lagos State by the federal government, the Lagos State Council of the Brigade in Nigeria was inaugurated on May 25, 1967. The newly created State Council had no ready accommodation and had to manage with the National Council at 1A Alhaji Kalfo Street, Igbobi Fadeyi, Lagos.
That was the only effective secretariat that the Boys Brigade had, because even up till now, all that we have been having has always been temporary secretariat.
Fortunately, we took the bull by the horn. We were able to procure land at Ikorodu for 30 million naira. It's a 10-acre expanse of land where we build everything that we want to build. But we have a plan to have our main secretariat in the metropolis of Lagos.
There's no gainsaying the fact that the Boys Brigade has contributed in no small measure to the progress and peaceful coexistence amongst the people in the society.
When we had the Boys Brigade on active service, there was no area boy. No area boy, everybody was enjoying being recognized, as a member of a disciplined organization. Every boy wants to be identified with a theme of character training. And at that time, we would have stamped down a lot the menaces of what now came out as Boko Haram.
One of the things that Brigade has enabled our young people, Brigade has significantly enabled our young people in the area of skills in music, skills in paramilitary activities. I know a number of brigade and former brigade officers who run registered and licensed security outfits, largely based on skills that the brigade gave them.
If the youths are engaged, engaging the youths bring peace to the society. We also engage in communal service. There are some areas in this Lagos through our expedition exercise that we were able to locate and advise government. Like that area of Ejigbo, ever before the existence of Ejigbo, the Boys Brigade, where we are doing our expedition, then we identified that area and we told, in our write-up, government was able to know. We do clean-up campaign for the society. What's called? In areas where we find ourselves, you can do traffic control. There's lots of things the training will give our boys and to make them self-sufficient and to render service to the society.
If the kids are not properly brought up, then the future of the country is in jeopardy. The Boys Brigade helps the state, the community in developing the youths.
The Boys Brigade is over 100 years in existence without a permanent administrative headquarters. Attempts at establishing a befitting secretariat for the Boys Brigade has been difficult.
In the last 2 years of my tenure in the office, we actually got some properties which we intended to acquire at Mushi, but that was when the Mushi Francas of the Akala boys started, and on the hindsight we took a decision not to situate the Boys Brigade headquarters and offices at Mushi, but to look for land elsewhere.
This administration have taken it upon themselves, no matter your denomination, we want to put something down as a legacy, and the governor of Lagos State is backing us up.
The present regime felt that it will be out of point, unhearable for an organization like Boys Brigade, 106 years, not to have a befitting assets. It's not peculiar to Lagos. Even at the national, we have the same problem. But in their own case, they are having a church that harbored them with a large space where they can operate as headquarters. Even then, there's nothing as good as an organization like Boys Brigade having its own headquarters and office complex.
It is pertinent to state here that the Boys Brigade would have been extinct without the generous efforts of the patrons who sacrificed their time both physically and financially.
I'm actually a national patron of the Boys Brigade, so it means I am active at both the national and the state level, where the brigade structure, your primary place of activity is your company. which is your parish church. But as a national patron, I therefore have a mandate to be active at parish level, battalion level, state level, and of course, ultimately at the national level. At state level, I continue to render my support for the brigade, and of course, also within the brigade of my denomination, I'm very much involved with training and mentoring.
I was introduced to the brigade some 25 years ago when we established a company in our church, St. Ferdinand Catholic Church in Ekpaja. So this company happened to be excised out of a battalion. That's part of transformation of brigade in our Limosho battalion. So, and I was made a patron. Subsequently, as we move on, I was made the chief patron for the company, and thereby moved to the battalion, which is a bigger organization than a bigger setup than the company. So there I was also given the position of chief patron.
Today, the executive of the Lagos State Council of the Boys Brigade, led by Sir Sunny Nwosu and other concerned officers of the brigade, have decided to take the bull by the horn to provide a befitting infrastructure for the Boys Brigade to carry out its functions without any hindrance.
Times have changed. You need to be able to fend for yourself after a while. I think we had been over-dependent on the generosity of individuals and organizations and some parish churches that have voluntarily accommodated us over the years. Now is the time for us to realize and be, to some extent, and I mark my words, I said to some extent, self-sufficient.
We came to the conclusion that brigade is not existing on infrastructural level, no asset, nothing. And we all agreed that we must create that sense of belonging and move brigade forward in the scheme of things. Knowing fully well that Lagos Council Brigade is the biggest state council in the scheme of things at the national, both in numbers, in boys, in officers, and every other thing that you can talk about, being the first state that brigade was established in and was combining the national and state together until the creation of a new national capital in Abuja, which now took away the national from Lagos State. So since then we have been growing brigade, and we now discover that we need to do more to show a call for show that we are the biggest. So we decided to venture into property to establish a vocational town for brigade, which of course will be the first in the whole hierarchy of brigade in the country. So it's a history that this regime is making to bring out Boys Brigade as a foremost uniform or voluntary organization in the country, and also Lagos coming out to be the first to have such a plan to build an entity, a vocational town. In conclusion, on the 17th of this month, which is precisely on Saturday, we hope to gather to make history, to turn around brigade and give hope to brigade and hope to our vocational center, which we intend to build with whatever money we are going to achieve from the launching.